Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Midnight Sun, also known as Taiyo no Uta, a Japanese romance from 2006 that is getting an American remake next week. So I thought it would be helpful for my viewers out there if I were to review the original film, which I have in my DVD collection, but have not revisited in years. I remember liking it a lot back in the day, but is this film as great as I remember? Let's take a look. Now, our protagonist is a teenage girl who suffers from a rare illness that makes her severely allergic to sunlight, so much so that it can kill her. Now, as a consequence of this condition, she does not have much of a social life because she sleeps during the day and makes visits to a nearby park to play her music at night, usually by herself. Now, before going to bed every morning, she peeks out of her bedroom window and gazes at a teenage boy who waits for his bus. She develops a sort of crush on him and eventually comes into contact with him one fateful evening. But can our potential lovebirds develop their relationship with this unorthodox circumstance surrounding them? So when I first saw this movie, I actually had no idea that the actress was a musician in real life. Her name is Yui. So when I finally realized that she was actually singing her own songs and playing the guitar in the movie, I was legitimately impressed. So I looked her up and became a fan of her music outside of the film. Now, her genre of music I would define as light rock. And as you might expect, the soundtrack and score in this film are actually very good. In addition, the theme of music is also very important to the storyline. So I will say, however, that my personal favorite Yui song, which is Highway Chance, is not showcased in the film. I think it's because that particular song was released after the film was released, so that's okay though. There's some really good stuff in this film. Now, one thing I need to point out is that Yui is not a professional seasoned actress, so there is a certain lack of nuance to her performance. I think her facial expressions in particular and her mannerisms are a bit forced at times. They're a little off. But with that said, I think that she does a good job of making her character likable. And the fact that she plays her own music helps to bring some authenticity to her character. Actually, performances by the rest of the cast, who are professional actors, are rather mediocre, actually, in my opinion. You know, nothing terrible by any means, but there's really no standout performance in this film. Goro Kishitani is in this. He was the guy who was the lead character in Takashi Miike's film Graveyard of Honor. You'll be happy to know that he's much nicer in this film. But fortunately for us, the direction in Midnight Sun is impressive enough to make up for some of these flaws. Now, this is a very nicely shot film by a man named Norihiro Koizumi, who I've only seen a few other films from. I think this is still his best. There's a nice mix of steady and handheld camera that's used at the right times. I like the use of wide shots because they help to create or capture the neighborhood areas that the film takes place. You know, a lot of Japanese films seem to take place in claustrophobic city environments or desolate forest mountain environments, you know what I mean? But Midnight Sun does not do either of these, you know? This is definitely a film to watch if you want to get an idea of what a smaller coastal Japanese city looks like. I will say, though, that the areas where our protagonist plays her guitar actually reminded me of some of my experiences when I visited the Umeda district in Osaka. You know, not in terms of like population density or anything, but in terms of like the nightlife. Like if you walk around at nighttime, you'll see random amateur musicians show up and just play music like on the civilian overpasses that are over the streets. And the characters do that in this film. So it's pretty cool stuff, and it reminded me of those experiences that I had while on vacation there, in Osaka at least. And after rewatching this film for the first time in years, I'm very happy to say that it still affected me on an emotional level. You know, the direction, the music, and the structure of the film are successful at creating a dramatic, emotionally resonant experience. You know, it's very charming and, I would say, stripped down film that focuses on making its characters and situations feel real. You know, there are multiple scenes that really work for me and are really memorable. There's a sequence during the latter half involving someone attempting to play a guitar that's really quite heartbreaking. Sunflowers are used to ironic effect since our protagonist is allergic to sunlight. And there's one shot involving sunflowers that's kind of burned into my brain forever. It's introduced rather abruptly. They cut to the shot abruptly, and it's kind of unforgettable stuff. The finale still hits me pretty hard, especially the final shot, which is really good. It's really good. There's a very strong sense of like lost potential regarding one of the characters in this film, and that feeling really kind of elevates this film to another level. You really get that feeling after you're done watching it. It doesn't go away that quickly after you're done watching the film. And finally, Midnight Eye does not get too melodramatic. It doesn't. It sets itself up to do it, and it doesn't. It looks like it might get overly cheesy at one point during the second half, but then it doesn't. And I like that about this movie. You know, emotional reactions from the viewer here are generated more through like happy moments and melancholy or melancholy, instead of just outright sadness or misery. You know what I mean? There's almost no shots of showing our main character in like a deteriorated physical condition, you know, which some films kind of use a bit too much. They go to the well a little bit too much, and it gets too on the nose. You know what I mean? So that's a big plus for this film. It moves at a leisurely pace, rather simplistic, and it's approximately 2 hours long. So, you know, maybe there are some slight pacing issues here and there, but it naturally develops the situation and the characters very nicely. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I would say that Midnight Sun is not quite as awesome as I remember it, you know, mostly due to the lack of a standout great performance by a lead. But it's not, you know, it's not as great as something like A Moment to Remember from 2004 or Ing from 2003, the South Korean films. But it still holds up very well, I think. I definitely see myself rewatching this one more often in the future, now that I've reacquainted myself with it. Now, there's actually a J-drama that is based on the same story. I ordered the J-drama on Amazon, and it's still in the mail, unfortunately. I was hoping to do both reviews at once, but I didn't get the J-drama in time. I'm expecting an upgrade in the J-drama in terms of acting, because Erika Sawajiri starred in that series, and that woman can act. But with that said, the J-drama still has some work to do to defeat the theatrical film in my eyes. I mean, for one, I'm not expecting the music to be as good as the film in the J-drama. So, you know, the music was a core component in this theatrical film. I don't know if the J-drama is going to be able to match that in terms of just the quality of the music. And is the final scene of the J-drama going to be as emotionally impactful as the one in this film? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to finding out. And I will let you know when, if I eventually get the J-drama in the mail. But what about the American remake? Well, if the trailer's any indication, looks pretty dodgy. But who knows? You know, maybe curiosity will get the better of me, like it does with all of those remakes of Asian horror films. So, we'll see. So Midnight Sun is available on international Blu-ray with English subtitles. There are also a few copies of the Region 3 DVD floating around out there with English subs. So if you can find it, check this one out. It's good stuff. And as always, I'll see you next time.